Thank you, Chase, for asking me to speak. My name is Gigi, like a bee landing on a boat, and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is April 15th, 1984. So this past April, I celebrated 42 years of continuous sobriety, including weekends and holidays. Um, and it's so good to be with you guys. I'm sorry, I live in San Rafael, but one of my home groups is on Zoom in Japan. And I'm the treasurer. So I had to do that until 6:35 and then get something to drink and come back. So anyway, I apologize that I'm on Zoom. I love well, let me say, as long as I've been here, I'm continuing to grow. And when I talk to people who have a similar time to me, I'm always like, we're growing. Who knew? Um, I just need to qualify for a minute. When I took a drink, the drink took me. So I grew up in an alcoholism. I swore I would never drink. And in some ways, I was obsessed with not drinking before I was obsessed with drinking. So I swore I would never drink. And because my household was total chaos, my dad was a really bad alcoholic with a horrible temper, and my mom spent all of her time trying to control him. And I think my mom's dad may have been an alcoholic too. But anyway, it was very chaotic home. And my dad took his own life when I was 9. And then one of my mom's brothers was a really bad alcoholic. So he used to come over and cause all kinds of chaos. Once he just knocked the door down, he literally just came in the front door. Boom. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to drink. But that's before I drank. So then when I did drink, the first time I drank was in high school, and I drank 2 6-packs of Colt 45 malt liquor and got really sick that night and couldn't wait to do it again. So this is one of the things that characterizes me as an alcoholic. Most people would be like, oh my God, never do that again. So I drank in high school. I took alcohol in pill form. I did all that. And I was really young. I think I was like 15, scary. And so for my second 2 years of high school, I didn't drink or use. I just stopped, and I became like homecoming queen and cheerleader and all that in my big high school. So I'm telling you this to say that I'm very much a chameleon. I can go anywhere with anybody. I can drink in biker bars. I can drink in Wall Street bars, like, and it really goes to a deep-seated not knowing who I am. So drinking and posing came very easily to me. My drinking career lasted 8 years, and our disease is progressive, and it definitely progressed for me. In the beginning, I was able to work and pay my rent. And then eventually I got evicted from my apartment. And in the last days of my drinking, I didn't have a place to live, but I did have a car. And I was sleeping on friends' couches. And I had 2 years sobriety, and I was sharing from the podium, and I was sleeping on people's couches, and I went like that. Oh my God, you guys, that's homeless. So I didn't know that I was homeless because all I was doing was sleeping on people's couches. I was waking up with people I'd never met, going, who are you and where's my car? I was all of this, most of my drinking happened in San Francisco. So once I was parked in Embarcadero, and I don't know where I parked. But so by the time I found my car, because there's 4 levels to each building, I sobered up looking for my car. My motto is, if I can find it, I can drive it. And I did an awful lot of drunk driving. So I literally was roaring through other people's lives. And this guy fell in love with me. He thought I was so awesome. And he rescued me and told me he was moving me to Napa, California. And I have to say, even as sick as I was, I thought, I'm not sure the wine country probably isn't a good place for me. But I did go because he was paying the bills. And I continued to drink. And the last night I drank, I was drinking all day. This guy who just loved me to pieces and had me on a pedestal came home. He's all dirty, he's a construction guy. And I said, Halloween night, I said, hey, let's go out. And he's like, oh, I'm beat. It was a rough day. So I went ahead and went to the bar. And on the way there, driving in his car, I had alcoholic diarrhea. And I bring that up because I think it's pretty common, but nobody wants to talk about it. But, if that happened to me today, I would pull over and call an ambulance, but I'm a drunk. So I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? I pulled into a gas station, cleaned myself up, threw my underwear away, and went ahead to the bar. And the guy refused to serve me, which I was just incensed. And he goes, I'll serve you if you give me your keys. And I was like, I give my keys to no one. So he wouldn't serve me. So I left. And I went home and I went to bed. And the next day, this guy who adored me gets up, puts on his clothes, goes out to his car, and comes back and is so disgusted. And I hope I never forget what that felt like, because I was crashing down from that pedestal into a million pieces. What did you do? Did you in my car? What the hell? He was just beside himself with disgust and disbelief. And he left and he slammed the door. And I called, this was a long time ago. So I picked up the phone and I dialed 411, which was information. And they said, what city, please? And I whispered, Napa. And they said, what listing, please? And I said, Alcoholics. And I whispered because I didn't want to know that I was calling you. So that's another symptom, right? I'm split off from myself. I hide booze from myself, So I went to my first meeting. It was just similar to you guys sitting in a circle. They all talked. It was the best meeting I've ever been to. And they each went around, and I don't know if this is true, but I feel like they each told their story in 3-minute increments. And there was a really old lady. I was 28, so she was probably 75. I drink in my kitchen. I just close the curtains and I get after it. And then the next person was like this big tatted up biker guy, saying, oh, I'm like a tire with a bald spot. I go along okay, and then I hit the skids. And I was like, these people are amazing. And they said, would the newcomer like to say anything? And I said, yes, I'm Gigi Alcoholic, because I know how to pose. And I said, I'm just here to learn how to drink normally. And they just fell out laughing. And they said, keep coming back, honey. So I bought a big book with a bad check. And then I came back the next day on step 4. So that was my beginning. And it's really important as we talk about recovering to know that I am the kind of drunk, I'm permanently 86 from places I've never been in. And it had been a long, long time since anyone said, oh, honey, keep coming back. And you gave me your business cards, which was so weird that you guys had business cards. And you said, call me. And I was thinking, you don't want me to call you. I'm bad. I call people at 3 a.m. And I got a sponsor, and she got me in H&I right away. And I worked the steps, and I wrote. It was so awesome to write an inventory, because growing up in an alcoholic home, you don't really know what's true. What's true is whatever you collectively decide is true. Like if there's a birthday party happening and dad's passed out on the couch, that's because he has the flu, right? And we all agree dad has the flu. So here I am, 28, going, I don't even know what's true. And I was way too sick to write columns. I mean, forget about it. So my sponsor gave me like a 20-page single-spaced questions, which I don't even know where they originated. It was run off of a mimeograph machine, and it's like childhood, adolescence. The first question is, were you wanted as a baby? That I could do. I could answer questions. So that was my inventory. And the resentments part was difficult because I was mad at everybody. I was really mad at myself. And you know what? I had been hurt a lot. And I couldn't see my part. But I wrote down everything I was mad at. I was mad at Bank of America because I used to just go there and take as much cash as it would give me from the ATM. And they rescinded my banking card. They said it was a privilege. I mean, seriously? And I was mad at the DMV. I was mad at San Francisco police. I mean, you name it. Every boss I'd ever worked for, because they would tell me to wear a white shirt and black pants, and I would wear a beige shirt and brown pants, and they would get after me, and I was like, these people. So everything and everyone drove me crazy. So the resentments was really important. I wasn't sure what they were, but she said, I want you to write down everything that you're mad at, people, places, and things. And I was able to do that. I'm just going to keep it to the resentment part so we stay on track with the topic. But the big book says a lot about resentments. It says it's the number one offender. It kills more alcoholics than anything else. It says resentments are infinitely grave. I mean, the big book makes a lot of suggestions, but around the topic of resentments, it's just like bam. It says a life with resentments leads to a life full of resentments leads to futility and unhappiness. So I did do my fifth step. I told my sponsor everything, but I was too sick to remember that I had one final resentment. So what I wanted to talk about, what I know today, because I've been here a long time, is that the problem with resentments is I am in the center of the universe. And if you hurt me, I'm never going to forgive you because you don't deserve it. So I get my feelings hurt really easily, and it's always your fault. It's never my fault. So I started getting well, and my sponsor started showing me that I have a part. I mean, it's so cool to sponsor somebody because a new woman is like, I wonder if the way my life is going has anything to do with me. And you're like, come with me, sister. Because when I got here, nothing about the way my life was going was attributable to me, to my choices. I had no agency at all. Everything was happening to me. So my first inventory was a way for me to write down all the people that had wronged me, and there were a lot of them. And then when I did my fifth step, my sponsor tried to get me to see how I might have made decisions based on self, which later put me in a position to be hurt. And that, I had a lot of those. I would cheat on my boyfriends and wonder why they left me. I would steal things from stores. Like I said, I'm permanently 86 from a bar. I don't even know what I did there. I asked, wait, I was walking in at this fancy bar in San Francisco on Chestnut. I was walking in and the bartender's like, you out. And I was like, who's it? What? He goes, no, you get out. And I said, I've never been here. And he goes, yes, you have. Get out. And I was like, what did I do? And he was like, get out. What do you not understand? So obviously, a lot of stuff happened that I don't remember. But what I know today, I had a couple years sobriety. Before this other resentment came up, I could not let myself remember it. Oh, and I do think we're not given more than we can handle. I think God really does that for us. And the saying is not, I won't get more than I can handle. I often get more than I can handle. But the saying is, I won't get more than I can handle with his help. So I had a few years sobriety, and I was able to remember childhood sexual abuse from my dad. And it was interesting that my whole life, including the first few years of sobriety, I had pictures of family, but I never had his picture. So I was able to tell her about that. And she goes, "You're going to have to forgive him." And I was like, "No, if he wasn't dead, I'd have to go kill him." That's how much resentment I had. And she was like, "You have to forgive him for you." And there is a way in AA that appeals to a self-centered alcoholic, right? And I said, "Well, I'm sorry." So she said, "Pray about it." And my prayer sounded like this: "I know you want me to forgive him, but it's never going to happen." So since he's dead, I can't go kill him. But God, I know you want me to do it, but it just can't ever happen. And so if you want to give me some forgiveness for him, that's okay. And it was just this open-handed willingness for God to pour forgiveness into my life for my dad. And in the months following, it was remarkable how much I had compassion for him. He was a really sick guy. And I felt like my higher power was there. He saw what his beloved son was doing to his beloved daughter. He was definitely there. And it was miraculous in the sense that I didn't use my brain to forgive him. It's like God just filled me with forgiveness for the sick person who is my father. And if you're sponsoring people and they had childhood sexual abuse, there's no part. We have a part in everything, but I had no part in what happened to me. And my sponsor goes, "You do have a part." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Your part is you will not forgive him because he doesn't deserve it. So you're playing God and you're hurting yourself." So that's what got me to pray for forgiveness. Right now, today, I have a resentment against Bank of America because I went in there and they said they were going to handle something. And today it did not happen. I haven't had my debit card for 4 days. And I'm just like, and it's justified. But the other thing is the program gives me all kinds of tools to deal with it. So the first one is the sick man prayer. This is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done. Amen. So that's the first prayer. So this guy who goofed up at B of A, I'm like, okay, God save me from being angry. And then on 417, there's like acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. But I have to accept that things are the way they are. I don't have to approve them, but I have to accept them because I can't move beyond without that. And then I learned recently, I've been around a long time. I heard something brand new and never heard. And it was at this conference for AA and on women. And she said, we 3-step people. And I'm telling you right now, it works. It'll work in 2 or 3 weeks. You just try it. So I got her after the meeting and said, "What is that?" And she said, 3rd-step people. And I was like, "What is that?" And she said, "God, I offer my ex-husband to you to do with him and build with him as you will. Relieve him of the bondage of self so he can better do your will. Take away his difficulties so that victory over them would bear witness to those he would help of your power, your love, and your way of life. May he do your will always." And it's changing me because I'm not praying Gigi's prayer. I'm praying what God would have for this person. And it's promised when we pray for somebody to do, pray for everything you want for yourself, for them. That also works. But this is the newest thing in my toolbox to 3rd-step people and to continue to pray that 3rd step over them. And I think I'm about at time. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and share with you tonight. I love this program, and I'm going to keep coming back.
Thank you so much.